In Spanish, there's a saying, it's called no es la ropa y la pecha, which means it's not the clothes, it's the hangers what's holding it up. I like to think that the outside is definitely led by that. You look at all the different personalities, it's just full of grit and not wanting to lose, definitely not wanting to lose.
With the outsiders, it's not about the baseball. It's not about the bat. It's not about the glove. It's about unleashing human potential.
The moment I picked up a glove, I was already good.
That's all we did. I feel like a lot of us used to go to sleep with our gloves.
So I felt like we were different everywhere we went.
Groups of people were already so happy to be losing to teams that looked like ours. So
especially when we would go away, we would be like the only team with all Hispanics on it.
It was cool. It suited us well. We wore it well.
Nobody was like us, so we were like the outsiders, Even in competition, they couldn't be in that realm. We were outside of that,
My son Kyle was looking for a team to play with, and we found them at Allerton Field in the Bronx.
We had been given the name of a great coach in the South Bronx, and so we wandered up to the Bronx to meet Tony, and we met Tony.
So imagine you're the only white kid going to play on a team of mostly Spanish speakers in a borough of mostly Spanish speakers. This is not usual. And so I always remember just being like, wow, I get to play with these guys who are like seriously, seriously good.
They would play morning, noon, and night. They'd play with gloves that were 2 sizes too small.
We didn't have balls, we didn't have bats, we didn't have bags, transportation. We didn't have a lot.
we would go to games, and sometimes we wouldn't even have water to hydrate.
Put it together with what we had, and we continuously won.
At that point, the team was just the Yankees. The coach wanted to spin off. This idea was like, let's break out of the Bronx, let's break out of this league, and let's try something different.
We were one of the first team from the Bronx to, shall we say, integrate the Westchester baseball teams.
As I got to know these kids that were really without much in the way of resources or support, I began to envision a different world and future for them. I think the vision from the very beginning was to build a bridge.
I would say what started out as just joining a traveling team and getting to play baseball in the city, outside of the city, ended up becoming a little bit of a family because of what the folks at Hearst exposed us to.
If you were to tap into neighborhood resources, school resources, corporate resources, sports resources, and stay with the same 20 kids for 10 years, could you see any difference than what general after-school programs did?
So what we did is set up a mentoring program. We helped them with their schoolwork, with their SAT prep, college essays, identified schools that would be good for them, not only from a baseball perspective, but also from an educational perspective. And we allowed them to dream and dream big.
When I was younger, definitely wanted to be in the major leagues.
What we saw was that baseball could be a means to a different end, and that end would be an education.
We were very realistic that you can have passions and you can have dreams, but you have to be pragmatic.
It whipped me up into shape. I started taking school a lot more serious.
What is college? What does that mean? How do I pay for it? What do I want to study?
What's your plan B?
Can I really leave the Bronx? I don't know if I can leave the Bronx.
I like to talk about doors when I speak about this, and it opened up a new door. It made me realize a new set of possibilities.
And to me, Plan B was 98% of it. And for them, Plan B was 2% of it. But the good news is it didn't matter, because if we got to Plan B, I was ready and they were ready.
We also got mentorship. So if stuff was going on outside of work, we had people here that we can go and talk things out with.
They were very open and very curious. And I just sort of made it real. Guys, this is my world. And, and I was curious about their world as well. They were doing some work, but it was more like an experience. They got to experience through talking to others within Hearst about what they did.
It made me feel not only that it was real and a possibility, but that it was close.
You talk about the early views, I was like, wow, we're in this for a long time. These kids are still really young. So we got more people, we got more help.
My colleagues here at Hearst who came to speak with them and to interact with the boys absolutely loved it. So I think having the boys with us really did change sort of the atmosphere in our own workplace. They became sort of mini celebrities in some ways. Everybody knew who they were.
We moved to getting as many of these kids as we could into private and parochial schools in the Bronx so that we had help from the schools. If we didn't have help from an immediate family member, maybe there was an aunt or a grandmother, maybe there was a neighbor. So we began to sort of tie the web together.
When you think of your family, being able to help you, you kind of know that, or at least you can trust that. But when it's a group of people who are virtually strangers and they are offering to you, that sort of lets you know, like, there are people out there who will care about you, and they don't have to be your family to care. They can become your family.
It just shows what can be done if the doors of opportunity are opened and barriers are removed and encouragement is provided. People can just climb the highest mountain.
If we fast forward to today, in terms of where these boys are, is they have broken the cycle of poverty. And that has ripple effects all through families. So the number of people who've had an enhanced and better outcomes, sisters, brothers, aunts, cousins, who are now going to college and who now have a vision for that, I think that's extraordinary.
I really miss it. So I just want to say thank you to everybody, though. They changed me.
I don't think I would have ever imagined that we would be in this journey currently now, 15 years later, 20 years later. It's turned out to be really special and really formative. And yeah, I'm just eternally grateful that it happened.
Flashing bright in my eyes. Look up to the sky and I got this relief inside. Then there's no need to hide. I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart.
Other teams, you know, if you can't play, then it's like, what really good are you? And you know, here they really care about outside baseball. They care about school. They care about you as a person as well as a player.
Other teams, you go, you play, and then you won't see them again. Outsiders, we see each other frequently.
We're more like a family here. We're like more together. We're connected with each other.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Hard work pays off.
Hard work pays off. 4, 5, 6. Outsiders.
If you need me.